All right, good morning. Today we're leaving Tibet, and I thought I'd give you a bit of a review. So, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram stories. Obviously, it's amazing, it's beautiful. The countryside, the architecture, the people, the Buddhist thingies, everything, all of that. As you'd expect, as it is in the tourist pictures, not like Thailand where the pictures are much nicer than the real thing. And of course, it's mainland China, right? So when you enter from Nepal, Nepal being one of the poorest countries in the world, very far down, like rank 160 plus, whatever. It's a bit like day and night, even though, of course, Tibet is not super developed. And but still, there's like working street lights. There's like the villages have, as you can see here, this uniform architecture, design, styling, whereas in Nepal everybody builds just whatever they feel like. And you have all those crazy wires hanging around, and nothing works, and many of the streets are unpaved, and it's dirty, and there's no. Here, there's like trash cans everywhere. There's public toilets that are actually usable, and yeah, electricity, hot water, and this is even in like small mountain villages in Tibet, right? So I'm not talking about Shanghai or whatever. So the contrast is very stark and very clear. Everything is written in Chinese and in Tibetan, like all the street signs, all the signs on government buildings, all this kind of stuff, which is interesting. I talked with our guide who is Tibetan. That's like one of the rules. The tourist groups here in Tibet need to have a Tibetan guide, not a Chinese guy. Oh, wait, he's Chinese, but like from Tibet, not from from the rest of China. And he says, yeah, they're learning Tibetan in school. There's lots of Buddhist monasteries. So it, it doesn't feel like there is a lot of repression. But I've been here 6 days, so I know nothing. But it's not like anything related to Tibetan culture or Buddhist religion or anything is illegal here, right? As long as they stay out of the government side of things, as long as they don't want to have like religious theocracy under the Dalai Lama, it seems like they can do their stuff in peace. And the question would be, if Tibet was an independent country, if it had the means to support itself, right, or if it would share the same fate as Nepal, or maybe even worse, because there's very little here. So the Chinese government spends a lot of money building roads, building infrastructure. Of course, they're using the minerals, they're using the natural resources. That's our Spanish friends in the camper. So there's like big concrete factories and there's some mining and whatever. But on the other hand, the Tibetans get a lot of nice roads, yeah, electricity, hydroelectric power, all this kind of stuff. I have actually no idea where to go, so I don't know. Yeah, difficult, difficult. Let me see. They know where to go. and it feels kind of wealthy, right? So there's all everywhere. There's like brand new cars, everything from Mercedes to Tesla to all the Chinese brands. There's no, I mean, it's a cold place, right? But there's no homelessness, and there's very few buildings in disrepair or ruins or abandoned buildings. You know, if there's empty buildings, basically because they're newly built and nobody has moved in yet. Maybe because the Chinese government builds too many, or I don't know how it works. So it feels like there is very little poverty here. Ah, this is the main road, and regulations are strict. We're on the way to Shangri-La, I think. But first, petrol station. Yeah, petrol station. One thing, super annoying, because oftentimes you have to. They're not allowed to fill your bike at the pump itself, but you have to go somewhere over there and then fill it with a jerry can, which is obviously very, very stupid. What? Oh, come on, man. Please let me fill it. You know who does that? I mean, the system is so stupid and. I mean, you spill petrol all over the place. What? This is ridiculous. And it can't be for safety, right? Because this is making guys in motorcycle gear walk around in with big cans of petrol is not very safe. So petrol stations in Tibet have been very annoying. Man, it's just stupid. You know, and the weird part is in this can there are about 9.7 liters. So when you order 10, it doesn't fit. Fucking stupid. All right, so that took a cool 30 minutes just to get 3 bikes refueled by whatever. What is this then? All right, I like it. Yeah, so foreigners. The question is, why am I only here for a week if this place is so nice, right? Foreigners here need to have a guide, and obviously, if you want to have a guide and you want to drive yourself, you have to pay for um, the guide's transportation and accommodation and food as well. So it's not exactly super cheap. And for Tibet, you need a special permit, which everybody needs, right? But obviously, driving yourself is even more paperwork. And so this trip is expensive. I'm here because Tibet is cool, but also because I can't go through Myanmar. And you need the guide. There is checkpoints. The guide meets you at the Nepalese border or at the Lao border, from whichever side you're coming from, and they have to prepare the paperwork in advance. So you get your temporary Chinese driver's license, you get your temporary Tibetan license plate, which is only valid for Tibet, I think, and then you're good to go. And there are checkpoints along the way which you have to pass with your guide, where they want to see all the permits and all the paperwork. So you can't just be like, okay, I meet you at the border and then I'll meet you at the next border, but you have to travel together with them. At least in Tibet, there are no checkpoints every day, but there's some days, especially close to the border with Nepal, closer to the remote mountain regions, where they check closely who's coming in and who's going out. Apart from that, there is many Chinese people here. I mean, apart from the locals, as tourists, many people doing motorcycle trips, many people, you see camper vans, but you also see just regular tourist buses full of tourists, people coming here in private cars and hired cars just to go to some mountain passes and maybe like from Beijing or from wherever, from somewhere warmer, see snow for the first time in their lives. And same for the big Potala Palace in Lhasa. Lots and lots of tourists, very few foreign tourists. Most people, from what I've heard, or from a few people we met and talked to, they fly in from, I don't know, Beijing, Shanghai, wherever, spend like a week touring around with a guided tour and some hired cars, and then fly back out. So our tour is super irregular, or super uncommon, and that's very obvious when you stop somewhere, right? Because the locals are absolutely amazed by the strange collection of vehicles we have. I mean, we have this big sand-colored Unimog. We have the two big motorcycles. We have an old Land Cruiser, etc., etc. And they're super friendly and super happy to see us. Also the other tourists. There's so many places we stop, and other tourists, Chinese tourists, come up to us and are like, oh shit, man, awesome, can I take a selfie with you? Communication is difficult. There's very little English spoken anywhere. Oh yeah, and lots of motorcycle tourists as well, right? Chinese guys. There's this famous road, National Road 318, which goes all the way from, I think, Shanghai to the Nepali border, some 5,000 kilometers or something like that. And many people take that road. And it's like something like Route 66, you know, like a legendary road that crosses the China. People do it on bicycles, people do it on e-scooters, people do it on, there's some Buddhist monks you see walking along the street. It's pretty hardcore. Because there's obviously some high mountain passes, several above 5,000 meters, where it's damn cold. So somebody doing it on a bicycle, I mean, wow. That requires some serious stamina. There's delicious food here. People eat a lot of the yak, so there's lots of yaks also on the road, lots of cows. You have to be careful. Black yak at night, dangerous. There's this very delicious white soft Tibetan bread, also knotted bread. And of course many mainland dishes. There's quite a few Muslim places here as well, like restaurants and shops where we've been to, where you can eat dishes from Xinjiang. Yeah, so Tibet is a really great place. I wish I had more time here, and I wish I had come a bit later in the year, so that those 5,000 meter passes are not as punishing on the bike and on me, obviously. And yeah, having a little more time, especially staying 1 or 2 nights extra in the small mountain villages. Of course, we stayed like a full day without driving in Lhasa, which was great. We're going to stay another full day in the north of Yunnan, in Lijiang, I think it's called. Go away from my lane. But normally we're on the road 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And when we arrive in the evening time, you take a shower, you go for dinner, you have maybe like a 15-minute walk around town, and then you just fall asleep. So staying a little bit longer, doing this tour in 3 weeks would be awesome. But you have to find the right group as well. And our group is very cool. Many nice people, 1 or 2 crazy people. But since everybody is in their own car, many of them are camping people. So the amount of contact you have with them makes it very pleasant. And those people who are unpleasant by themselves, they're not so keen on hanging out with the rest of us anyway. Which is okay. And it's also interesting to see the different perspectives that people have on Tibet and all of this, right? Or not the perspectives, also the effect it has, you know. So there's people coming here and then they see all the snack chicken feed that the Chinese love. Oh, look at this one. Poor boy. Right? And, or, you know, they don't, it's hard to be a strict vegetarian in China. There was a moment yesterday when someone in our group who is a vegetarian ordered some tofu. And obviously, what do you do with the tofu dish? You sprinkle some minced meat on top, you know? Like, yeah. What else? So yeah, it's very interesting to see the different effects it has on different people, different backgrounds. And it's strict, right? So our guide is very, very careful when we are in Potala Palace. He's talking about the peaceful liberation of Tibet in 1950, whatever, when the Chinese government came in here and made it a Chinese province, right? So he's using the vocabulary. He's got a license, an official license, of course, and so he has to follow all the rules, and so he's calling it the peaceful liberation. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there have been a lot more liberations that were a lot less peaceful, but still. And yeah, they're super strict. The other day I was walking around with Max, the other motorcyclist, in Lhasa, and he was FaceTiming with somebody super innocently, you know, video call. And we walked past some government building with some proper military guards standing in front, you know, like with machine guns in their hands, in camouflage uniforms. And he was just talking to the guy on the phone, like, hey, yeah, I'm in Lhasa, oh, look, it's great. And the guy immediately started running towards us and screaming, like, no photo, no video. Very, very strict, everything. Very strict. There's a lot of traffic is also crazy. Not going to get into that too much. There will be time for that later. What I can say now is that there is a lot of speeding controls everywhere that take pictures with flash. And our guy told us, since we are foreign vehicles, there's nothing they can do. We won't get any fines. Which, of course, nice. Yeah, it says that we're going to take 5 hours and 9 minutes today for 264 kilometers, so I expect there to be more of this off-road construction stuff. Anyway, come to Tibet. It's cool. If you go motorcycling, go in summer. Don't do it in Or is it April? I hope you enjoyed that.